everyone, and welcome back to the Unrestricted podcast. I'm MattyStuntz, and I'm joined here with Camden, aka Drib.
What's up, guys?
And you're gonna learn something today, Joshua Bardwell.
Hey, Matty, how are you?
Good. So for the third time doing the intro there,
this is definitely
I didn't hit the record button, but
hey, it's got to be easier than live streaming.
Yes, geez.
We're missing Chad today. He tapped out. He said, "Bardwell,
we do miss Chad.
You got to fill in."
We do miss Chad.
Anyway, so if you guys joined us last week, and if you have or if you haven't, go back and watch it. But if you have, it was a pretty heavy subject last week, so we're gonna keep it light today. We're just gonna shoot the shit.
Yeah, we always get pretty heavy, which I mean I think is good. We want to do kind of a behind the scenes look at what's going on with us, and just real unfiltered talk. But it does get kind of deep, so I think we just want to hang out today. Just hang out. Take a chill
Absolutely.
pill.
Hey, guys. How was your day, guys?
My day was awesome. Hey, I'm gonna actually.
What did you do today?
You know what I did last night is I took this guy out. And if you guys aren't watching on YouTube, this is my 6-inch 6S build, and I paired it with this bad boy right here, the
Matty Mangoes 6S.
the Matty Flip Mangoes. And what happened was, I've always had Jello in this rig, and I just switched to Butterflight actually. And I've been talking to the dev team and just like on the forum, and I switched to it, updated my BL heli, and no more Jello.
Is it magic?
It flies perfect. Oh my god! Honestly, it's I could cry. It's been like a year and a half of me trying to do this, and my props I purposely put on like crappy props. Like look at this one. It's like
and still no Jello.
Still no Jello with like old motors. So yeah. I'm so ecstatic, man.
If you're newer to trying to get GoPro footage out of your FPV drone, when you say Jello, it's like distortion in the video. It's like one of the things that we end up fighting with the most because our drones are like vibration machines. You've got 4 motors spinning at crazy RPMs, and bolted to them are props that may have been clipped by trees, and then it's all in this like rigid carbon fiber frame. So all those vibrations get get transferred to the camera, which kind of distorts the image sensor, and you just end up with these weird. It looks like you're looking through a Jello lens. That's what it looks like. So we're always trying to filter those vibrations out.
Yeah, and I just didn't have Jello. I had like shimmers, like on idle, and it was just nasty, and I've never tried this dynamic filtering or the Kalman filtering, and my god, is it just? I'm running an F3 board too.
Oh, so yeah. What flight board is that one?
A Dodo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, we got to get you on it. So a lot of the newer flight boards with more processing power, I think they do better with the filtering, but a lot of them also have better physical filtering. So, what we do with the software is software filtering. And what you can do is reduce the amount of work that the software has to do by filtering physically, meaning using like a rubber standoff, or some of the flight boards have enlarged holes in the corner, so you put grommets in there, and then that filters it. And I'm even seeing flight boards come out where the gyro itself is on like some like foam or gel or something, and any one of those things will give you. So it looks like, yeah, I'm trying to look at your screen here. It's looking like your flight board is like
I have the knuckles.
Standoffs.
I have the knuckle, so that kind of does the
okay.
Motor.
So you got some soft mounting on the motor.
And then let me take the strap off here, and you'll see how I did I basically just like, you can't really see it, but it's just double-sided taped on top of the PDB. So it's not touching anything, it's just touching tape. Now
I'm having Brain FPV send you a flight board, and
yeah, I have those ready to go.
It flies so good.
I just have to build my third rig, which I'm going to get started on right after this podcast. And,
awesome.
And I've had the boards for a little while, but I was waiting for motors, and I was waiting for camera mounts, and then I was waiting for me just to have time. But man, I'm enjoying this Rotor Riot camera, guys. Thanks for sending them out. Like, it's game-changing decade for me. I was in the Stone Age before.
Well,
like,
you were using a pretty old
camera
one
on the fly, and yeah.
Yeah. No, well, I'm glad it's working out.
I'm surprised to hear you say that switching to Butterfly got rid of Jello. I've always thought of Jello as sort of the vibrations from the motors manifest in the video, but I've always thought of jello as something you have to get rid of by getting rid of the vibration, not necessarily a tuning issue. So it's really interesting that the filtering can do that.
Well, I think I know what you're saying, because like sometimes if you flip upside down and you're just on idle, you'll see the little jello waves. Mine was more of like a severe like shake and
so the whole quad was moving.
More like a tuning issue than jello per se.
Yeah, I guess so.
But you can reduce jello with filters and with good tuning. You know, it prevents the motors from overly stopping and starting and things like that. And but yeah, physical filtering always does a better job for the camera, I think.
Yeah. I guess it comes down to what the definition of jello is, which is a little hard to get into without like video examples.
Yeah.
I always think of jello as being really high frequency, sort of above the frequency that the PIDs can affect. But I mean, yeah, I think we'd probably have a hard time pinning that down. See, like you said jello, then you said you have in these like what I would call oscillations probably. So
I had both.
We need standardized terminology.
Yeah, I had like this oscillation that was almost causing like a longer frequency jello in my video. And then you also just had like, it just looked like this, you know? And then also I had a huge tuning issue. Whenever I punched it out and gave it throttle, it would just do this like thing.
Yeah.
And
that's a technical term. Yeah.
So many top pilots, everybody thinks top pilots are master tuners, and so many top pilots have no interest in tuning. I was flying with, I was doing a test with Evan Turner, Heads Up FPV, and I said to him, I was building a quad for him, and I said, do you want to tune it? And he was like, no, I just fly defaults. And he's one of the fastest racers out there. He just has no interest in tuning. And
because he's busy concentrating on focusing on flying, right?
Yeah.
But look at what automobile racers or kart racers. These guys are tweaking the suspension. They're tweaking the rubber and the tires for every last second. You would think that like a top racer would also be tweaking the tune, but apparently not.
Now, do you think we're there yet? Do you think we're at the absolute edge of every turn, every straightaway, like IndyCar racer would be?
Right. Maybe that's the takeaway, is that there's still so much room for pilot skill to make the difference that nobody's searching for that nth of a fraction of a second out of the tune. Or maybe the tune is not the dominant thing.
Well, I think part of it has to do with how long the races are. These are 2-minute races. Where an IndyCar, I mean, car races are half hour, a day on some of them, right? So there's a distinct line in the track that you need to follow the race line, right? Yeah.
In FPV, there could be so many different race lines.
No, I disagree with you there. I mean, there's an optimal line. There absolutely is for any given layout of gates and flags. There's absolutely an optimal line. The same way on a race course, there's an optimal line. I think a lot of pilots aren't. I wonder if our quadcopters and our pilots are precise enough to hit that line. Because
here's what I'm getting is that the races are so short and the turns are so precise relative to the quadcopters. I think this, like if you can shave off a fraction of a second in a turn on an IndyCar race, that adds up a lot over the course of a 6-hour race or something like that, right? 2 minutes. I mean, it's how can you even tell, right? Especially when all these hairpin, right? So what I'm getting at is I would love to see a new race format that probably would require some specialized equipment where you're going to need to be flying for 5 or 7 minutes, longer sweeping turns, something that's going to be more visual to watch from a third-person point of view, and is going to push people to hone a different skill set where you've got to hold your line and, if when you want to make the pass, it's not you're going to get it right now, it's you've got to wait for the right opening. You've got to hunt it down, right? More those longer chases. I think there could really be a new racing form emerge that stretches out a race rather than these like 1.5-minute sprints that we see today.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that there is the race line, but I don't agree that everyone sees it. So that's what I mean. Like there's many lines. Everyone takes their own line, and it could still be almost as fast. But like we were saying before, I don't think that we're on that razor edge of a race yet. So that's I think that's probably why they're not experimenting on tuning and they're just focusing on trying to get the skill set. Right?
Well, but speak for yourself, though. I mean, you're a top freestyle pilot, and you were just saying your tune sucks, if I could paraphrase you, and yet you still get great footage and you still do awesome stunts. Why don't you spend more time tuning?
Well, I would have to disagree. I think that I've always known there's been a shake issue, and maybe just me being the pilot that I am, people just kind of push it aside and say, we'll just let that one pass. But I think it's the last part of my whole portfolio of flying and just being a good pilot is focusing on getting really rock solid, smooth video. And it's also too, I've been trying, I watched Drew's last edit where, which edit was that, Drew? The one where you were at the Las Vegas. Yeah, the Las Vegas water park.
Which one's that drought? Did I call that drought? I think I called it drought.
I don't know, but it was spectacular to watch, and it's something where I wanted to really focus on is getting those one shot flights and just exploring the actual environment and doing the freestyle tricks at the same time. Yeah. I can't do that. I couldn't do that with my last tune because it was just too shaky.
If I would speak, I would say I've noticed the shakes that are in your videos sometimes, and it's because you like to fly very smooth though. I want it really smooth, but I will say exactly what you said is true, and like my personal opinion, if I'm to be candid about it, like I'd see the shakes, but I'm like, but look at that bullshit he just pulled off. That was ridiculous. I don't even care. Like you just went backwards through like 3 bridge pillars and whatever. Oh well, I can't. What am I going to complain about, right? So if you can get that thing more locked in and continue to do the same stuff, I mean, I think it'll take your productions to like the next plateau for sure.
Yeah, and I've always been a firm believer of a pilot should be well versed in every aspect of our trade, which is editing, flying fast, flying slow, flying low, flying close to things, flying far away from things, going fast, going slow. So just like a musician, you can't be a one-trick pony. And I've always tried to, if I notice something, I always try to make it better, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my evening last night. Though I stayed up until 12:30 with my best buddy Aaron, and we were just ripping around. Aaron's just getting so good, man. He's like one of my best buds, and we used to stunt bikes together. And I've talked to him I talked about him before, but he's really picking it up quick, and he's really putting like the time, and like he's just like me. We just sit down and we just like hit it and think about it all the time, and
that's awesome.
I'm so happy he's doing it because it's really motivated me to fly more as well too, right?
So Matty's got new builds and new things he's working on with his videos. Bardwell, what's new with you? What's new in the land of Joshua?
Oh man. Well, so I've got I just flew this for the first time. He said, holding up the Carrera Kia.
Can you push it over a little bit more? Oh,
my gosh, that monstrosity.
What is that?
There's a freestyle frame from Carrera. You guys on the podcast who are listening to the audio have to look up the Carrera Kia. It's got these waffle wings on the side. The idea being that it floats more because it's got more drag.
Like a 3D, like those crazy 3D planes with the fins on the sides of the wings, so they can produce more lift.
Yeah, I mean the idea is you go up, and then when you cut the motors, you fall slower.
Yeah,
but there's also more drag when you're flying it. Of course, like there's more frontal drag and downforce.
So what's the verdict? What do you think?
I have literally one pack through it. I'm not kidding. I flew one pack, and then I had the others on the charger. It definitely killed the battery faster than the other quad I was flying.
Yeah, well, you've got all this blockage in your thrust.
It's not an A/B comparison, though. I got to fly the same quad with you can take the waffles off.
Yeah,
I got to fly it, but there's a lot of I mean, it's funny because the whole purpose of Carrera, what they made their name on, was the vertical arms, which the whole point is that you want to keep the thrust column as free as possible to get the maximum thrust. And then the next one they make is this freestyle frame.
Let's just add it back in a huge way.
Yeah.
It's a nice frame. It's a very nice frame, and you don't have to use the waffles if you don't want to. I'm really looking forward to trying it without the waffles, to be honest. They're not officially called waffles.
I look forward to the video.
But
yeah.
So
I wouldn't. I would never shoot an idea down, but I truly believe in this case you could probably just get more invert time by negative. The negative energy you get from punching out and rolling and coming off the throttle.
Exactly.
And that continuous up motion that you're getting, you could probably just get it more that way if you had a.
The other part of it, though, is that, like I noticed on the Carrera Talon, which is their racing frame, that the vertical arms do give it a kind of a carving effect in the turns. It helps you tracks differently through the turns. And it's not just imagination, because also when it's windy, the vertical arms of the Talon make it really get blown offline real easily. And other people have noticed this too, not just me. So I almost wonder if the waffle here will help kind of track on the sort of pitch axis, the same way that the vertical arms help it kind of track on the yaw and the roll axis. I don't know.
I'll wait to hear the video.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So drones aside, so that's a new crazy quad you got. I wanted to hear more about. You got a new job. I don't think that hasn't. Well, so it's been talked about on your channel. I don't think we as a company made an announcement. It definitely hasn't been on our YouTube channel yet. So I'm just gonna bait this one.
Oh, I see. I see. You were trying to.
He's lobbing it up for you, bud.
What is he throwing me at? Yeah. So I've been working with you guys on the quad camps. I went to Sarasota. It was my second quad camp, and I'm looking to do a lot more. So I'm actually going to be working with you guys. Doing quad camps, doing episodes, and other things.
Yeah.
So what else we can think of?
I think it's a great addition to the team.
Am I officially, like, what does that make me? Because I don't think we
haven't really figured that out yet. So you're part of the company. And then as far as what we're still kind of sorting out exactly how the cast gets designated.
I should be clear. I'm not quitting my YouTube job to go work for Rotor Riot.
Oh yeah, no.
Not like anybody does that. But
we don't own your channel any more than Rotor Riot doesn't own my channel, right? All the pilots, staff, whoever, they all get their own channel.
Right.
So yeah, and that's you still kind of got like a good business going with that, but I think having you on officially as part of the company is I don't know. I just already see it. You're just great to have. So we're still figuring out exactly what it means for the cast, right? But
I'll tell you what really got me interested in it was that I heard about the first quad camp, and I had the idea to do essentially a quad camp, not exactly the same, but similar, like 6 months ago. And I started working my way towards it, but it was taking me forever. And when I saw that you guys were doing a quad camp, I was like, this is exactly my dream. Because I make the videos, and the videos are great for helping people, but helping people in person, face to face, is rewarding in a very different way for both me and for them. And so the minute I saw it, I chatted Chad, and I said, Chad, I have to be a part of this, please. Let's do another one. And he was like, we're going to keep doing them. I was like, yes. So if there was any doubt, but people would always sometimes people would say, who's the next Rotor Riot pilot? Haha, it should be, and my name would come up, and I'd be like, give me a break. There's way better pilots than me out there. But if there's educational opportunities, I'm totally down with that.
Well, so that's what we may, I don't know if we'll see how much we even care, right? But we may want to like say that, okay, there's, Rotor Riot pilots, and then Bardwell's the mad scientist, or I don't know if it matters. I don't know. But there's definitely part of being part of the team is you're cast member on the show, and people like to have their titles, so we may or may not sort that out if we ever get around to it.
It was really fun shooting with you guys in Sarasota.
Yeah, the bottom line is you're on a lot of episodes now. You've a lot of...
Well, not yet, because they haven't come out yet.
Yeah,
I'm dying for the episodes to come out.
Yeah.
And you can tell if you watch my channel. Like, my channel, I keep it a little bit serious, but you could tell if you watch my channel, I have a silly side. So it's kind of nice to have this other channel. I didn't have to start a second channel. I just went over to yours, where I could be a little bit goofier. It's really fun.
Josh?
Yes.
Can I call you Josh, or is it just Joshua all the time?
I usually go by Joshua.
Okay, Joshua. Matt. I want to ask you something, actually. Okay. You have this goofy side, you have the serious side. What about the violent side? I saw some photos of you doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
No, it's jiu-jitsu, but not Brazilian.
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Bardwell
I got some questions for you because
okay.
Yeah, I got some questions for you because me and Aaron have been talking. I'm like, you don't want to fuck with a Brazilian jiu-jitsu, especially if he's like a brown belt. Like he'll kick the shit out of most of the people, in the UFC. So what's that all about, buds?
Well, it wasn't BJJ. It was Japanese jiu-jitsu. For the record, the BJJ guys really care about that, so we should make that distinction. I did jiu-jitsu for about 6 years before I moved to Knoxville. When I was living in Atlanta, and when I moved to Knoxville, I tried to find a school in Knoxville, but I loved the school and I loved the teacher and I loved the style so much that every other school I went to, I'm sure they were fine schools, but it's like I just hated them because they weren't the one I liked. So I didn't really keep doing it once I moved to Knoxville. But it's been like
6 years. Are you not practiced anymore? Or?
No, I haven't. I really haven't done it at all in like 10 years.
Do you think you could still, Drew? I think you're muted.
Oh yeah, no, I was saying, you're sizing him up over there. You're like,
yeah. Do you think you could still kick the shit out of people, or just ragdoll them?
No, come on. That's not what it's about anyway, right?
No, I know. I'm just saying though. Right. You know what I mean? It's like if you went to a competition, do you think you'd still be able to?
Oh no, I get destroyed. No,
really?
No, I'm so out of practice. I mean, you do it for 5-6 years. There's stuff you remember, but somebody who was in practice, no, I get wrecked. I mean, I'm not in the physical condition to compete at all.
Right. You got to be flexible and obviously somewhat strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Let's do some yoga in Texas, man. We have a trip coming up. So
yeah.
When we're going to get together in Texas,
we'll still remember a thing or two. Ask Drew how my sleeper is.
No comment.
Drew told me he can't fight though.
I'm not much of a fighter.
He got the sleeper hold.
Yeah.
Back in Sarasota.
Yeah. There may be a video circulating on Facebook.
I think Chad Nowak has that.
Drew, what's going on with you? What's new with you?
With me, well, I don't. So by the time this airs, I may be there or back already. But I'm going to China. I take off. I don't know, tomorrow or the day after. I don't know, but I'm going. I'm going to be there for about a week. We're going over there for a drone conference they have. We're also going to be holding a kind of like a 1-day mini quad camp. I don't even think it's going to be like a full day, but it's not like an event that we sold tickets for. But it's like a sponsored event, right? So there's a group that they want us to run a quad camp for, and they're the group that flew us out there and is hosting us essentially. And then of course we're also going to be meeting with some of our manufacturers that are over there. So I'm really looking forward to meeting T-Motor in particular, who we work with on our Hype Train motor line. So getting to meet them face to face, see their facility is going to be awesome. And then of course, most importantly, we're going to be filming all the things, getting some cool episodes. China always has great places to fly. So I'm psyched, baby.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's going to be such a cool experience.
You mentioned quad camp. Could we plug the upcoming quad camps? Because I know there's one that's very near and dear to your heart.
Plug away.
It's very, very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. So we've got, actually, I wanted to bring it up, see which one of these maybe you might want to come out for, Matty. So we've got mid-April, April 14th, 15th, we're going to be in Houston. Then the end of April, there's one in Knoxville. What are the exact dates for Knoxville?
28th and 29th. Matty, come to my house in Knoxville. Fly my house, man.
No, but I'm not going to be at that one.
Is that the Knoxville one?
Hey,
that's Texas?
Tough cookies. Well, all the more reason he should come out and make up for the fact that a great celebrity like you is not going to be there.
I can't make it to all of them.
April 28th and 29th in Knoxville. That's going to be at my house. It's going to be I'm going to try and make it extra special since it's my hometown. I wanted to do these events for the longest time. And I said to Kevin, look, Kevin, sometime in the spring, I'm going to do one. I'm going to do it with or without you, but it's happening.
We got really worried you were going to compete with us, so we just hired you.
So I'm so happy to be doing it with you guys. But I'm trying to think of ways to make it a little bit extra special since this is my hometown. No, surprises. And then there's Detroit, right?
Yeah, in May we're doing my hometown.
You're going to that one, right?
Oh yeah, I'll be there. So, Matt, if you want to come to Texas,
we'll talk
Detroit.
Definitely. I've never been to Texas, and I would actually like to come. One of you guys might have to. Actually, Joshua might have to fly up here first. Put me in that chokehold and just put me to sleep really quickly and put me in a bag and put me on.
Well, this is legit. I think on our first episode you touched on this, right? Getting over some of your phobias, right?
Phobias?
Of flying, right?
Well, it's not the flying; it's the trapping.
I
like being high.
Tube.
I like being high. Like, it's funny because it's like I was training to become a commercial pilot when I was 19. I've soloed airplanes.
Yeah,
and it just, I needed post-secondary education. It kind of stalled out. Then I wanted to be a cinematographer, so then I changed. But anyways, I like to be high, so it's not the flying, it's the trapping. But I'm feeling good these days. I'm feeling really good these days, actually. And like you can see it just with how much I'm traveling around and flying in my own area. Mm-hmm. Like my bubble is getting bigger and stuff like that. And I truly believe I could probably make that Knoxville one. I'm gonna need a flying buddy though, for sure.
Okay, so we'll have to send one of us up there.
Yeah,
put you in a chokehold, drag you on the plane. Talk, we'll have to sweet talk TSA as to why you're passed out in a chokehold.
Yeah.
There's actually a funny story. The first time I went to DRL, I was supposed to go to DRL in Florida. Got on the plane, walked off the plane because I had a panic attack, and back then I didn't really know what it was. And I thought I was dying. And then they thought, I guess I was very dangerous because I've gone on the plane and walk off. And apparently that's a huge no-no. And now I'm blacklisted. So like every time I go to the airport, I'm like pulled into secondary. I stay there. I always have to go like an hour and a half earlier on top of the wait. But
it sucks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then anytime you go through the airport with drones, there's some added time for security. Because like, what are all these toys? Sir, do you really need to travel with all this? Yes, I do. Yeah.
You know what's weird is this is what I didn't get is when I was in security and I had like, these crazy cops looking at me with weapons and all that stuff. I just looked at them for a second. I'm like, does this just not happen? Like, do people not have a fear of flying and have this anxiety and just need to be able to get off the plane? Or like, what if there's an emergency and someone needs to get off the plane? And they're like, yeah, this never happens. And I'm like, oh, okay. But
yeah, I mean, it does happen. I've never seen it happen in person, but no, you're not alone in your fear. I mean, that's evident even just by the amount of people that reached out after the first time you shared this, right? So, no, it does suck that one of the things kind of essential for travel is mixed with this kind of like, it is high anxiety to be packed into a metal tube, thousands of feet in the air, right? And then it's also associated with, there's all this security around it, right? So it's this perfect storm of like, you want to fly, you better have all your shit together in a bag. Like, it's intense.
I'll just take an Ativan and a gravel and just fall asleep. So, yeah. What's it called? What was I going to say? I was going to say this. I really want to come because I want to show people my setup, and I would like to share that with more people. And because it is a rare setup. It's a rarity, I think, in the hobby, especially with just like the parts being a little bit more expensive. But I would love to be able to go to a quad camp and help someone build one.
Yeah.
I want to know what your thought is about the new 6S low KV movement that is starting to gain traction. You've been 6S for a long time, but you were never low KV.
Well, I'm 2450 now.
Oh, you're down a bit.
So that
okay.
I'm down a bit, but it's because I saw my rig on 26, and I saw another rig on 24, with Sean FPV that was in Seattle, and he flies like me, has the same kind of rig and all that stuff. And it just, you could see there was a little bit more of a torquiness, and mine took a little bit longer to wind up, and I want that torquiness. I want to be able to just go pop and then just travel like, inverted or whatever. So what's low KV to you guys though?
So here's the movement. The idea is that you go from 4S to 6S, but then you take the KV of the motor down so the RPM at the prop is the same.
And you reduce the size of the battery to keep the weight the same.
So you're at like 6S 1700 kV. So you're at the same RPM as 4S 2550 or something, and you've got a 6S 1050 milliamp hour pack, so it's the same weight approximately as a 1300. So your all-up weight is the same, your RPM is the same, but your voltage is higher.
And your current is lower. So your heat
is lower.
Current is where loss happens. right?
And people are saying that the voltage drop in the lines is not that much. I've done a little bit of testing. I haven't done flight testing yet, but people say that there's a lot less sag at the end of the pack.
Well, I need to see it. You're not abusing the cells as much. I mean, again, current is what's abusive. The current is what kills you. Current's what kills batteries. It's not voltage.
I need to see it, and I need to fly it. Those are the only ways I'm going to be able to see what it is.
But essentially, what it does is it mimics the performance of 4S, which you're just over.
But does it really though? Do we know that it does? Like, other than the data, the data on the sheet.
I'll tell you this.
That's why I need to be able to see it and fly it at the same time.
The racers who've gone to it, I did half a test. So I've got these 2 quads sent to me by Catalyst Machine Works. Thank you, Catalyst Machine Works. They're the Catalyst Machine Works America quad, and they're built identical, but one of them has 1700 kV motors, and one has like 2550 kV motors. One's for 6S, one's for 4S. And I did the first half of the test, but we had a technical issue that cut off the second half. So I've only done the 4S flying. But Evan flew, one of the things they do in the races is most laps in 2 minutes. And he put it's a 1550 4S on there, and he tried to fly 4 minutes, and at the end, or 2 minutes rather, and at the end, the battery was like at 9 volts. It was just dropping out of the sky, and he barely was able to limp 2 minutes out of the pack. And he said when he flies 6S, he's able to do it no problem.
So is this more flight time, or is this a performance?
It's about maintaining performance of our 4S setups while improving the efficiency, which again, I would say you haven't cared about efficiency.
I just don't care about the efficiency, but I will tell you this. I literally have on my desktop right now a raw flight of me doing 4 minutes and 25 seconds, because my flights are usually 2.5 minutes, but I come down early because I come down with like almost 50% left in the pack, because I find my packs.
What size is your pack?
It's a 1600.
A 1600. Wow.
Yeah.
What's it weigh?
You guys want to hold on for a second?
I really want to know.
Okay, 1 sec.
I can't say anything right now because it's going to be edited out. What should I say? I'm a fairy.
That's getting left in.
No, it's not. Nope. No, it's not.
Okay, so I have 2 types. I have the Llama pack, and then I have the MattyStuntz pack. This pack is fucking insane. I've never flown a cell, and I'm not saying this just because it has my name on it and it's because it's one of my sponsors.
He is.
I've literally have never flown. This is a shit pack compared to this pack. I'm telling you right now.
But it's the same manufacturer, so it's the Rebel Drama Llama 6S or the.
It's a different mix though. What he did was he experimented with mix.
Yeah.
This is a heavier.
Same manufacturer, different chemistry. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a heavier battery, so obviously it has more of the stuff that makes it go boom, right?
That's how it works. Yeah.
This 1600 pack, right?
That's the Llama. The 15,
I don't know which one I did the raw flight with, by the way. I don't know. It could have been one or the other because I have an equal amount of both. The Llama pack is 246. Now that may not be charged either.
Doesn't
it gain weight with charging?
It technically does gain weight. Since energy and mass are interchangeable, E equals MC squared. A battery with more energy does way more. No,
but how much?
I'm not making this up.
We're talking about 0.0001 grams.
An immeasurably small amount. It does in fact weigh more though.
Everyone always told me to measure it with the packs full, so I thought it was a bigger.
It's billionths of a gram or something. It's
so now 240, 245, 246, and then this one's like 260.
260. So the juice box one is 260.
It's got more juice in it.
So you're at 40 to 60 grams heavier than the batteries we're talking about, which is on the other and you're running with a GoPro. I was going to say if you take a GoPro off, but oops, no. What's your all up weight? What's your all up weight with the pack?
So now this is what I want to do. I have literally in my box a run cam split 2. Okay. I want to see if I can get that to work. Because if I can get that to work and just have some of my clips of what I wanted to do with 70 grams less, oh my God. It's already a teleportation machine with a GoPro on it, it would be like alien. It would look alien it already looks alien in the air. So,
Matty, I have a question. Sorry, it's only sort of related, but it does relate to how the movement in your video looks. I have noticed you do not use Super View on your GoPro.
I literally started.
You put it back? Okay.
The reason why I used to do it, if I don't do Super View, I can shrink it and have my borders for a little bit more cinematic look when I make my edits, and it makes it still look Super View.
That is
so
interesting.
you shoot in wide, and then you shrink it down with the borders.
See, if I ever decide that I want to do this cine bars, I just put black bars over my Super View.
So that's something I have to check to see how the distortion looks if it looks different. But either way, okay. So let's get back to this racing thing. So Joshua, what did you want to know? Why did you want to know the weights?
I was just curious because the 6S packs, the whole 6S low KV people, one of their goals is to keep their all-up weight about the same as with 4S. So I was curious how much heavier you were coming in with the 6S 1600. And it looks like you're coming in, your packs are about 40 to 60 grams heavier, and then you're flying with a GoPro. So I'm curious now what your total flying weight is, right? With the GoPro and the pack. Can you ballpark it? Or you got a quad? You got a quad.
I do have a quad. I just don't have a GoPro with me. 1 second.
Because as nerdy as this question is, I think people are really interested in the details of Top Pilot's setups. People are sometimes asking me, "Hey, my quad is 500 grams. Is that too heavy?" They have no perspective,
See,
so
this is an issue, and I actually talked to Chase about this. My setup's pretty heavy right now. I used to have a 6S setup where it was 600 grams. The frame's a little bit heavier. The batteries are a little bit heavier. Oh, this one also has one of these things. So take off 12 grams because I usually have
TBS. Are you talking about the TBS Triumph?
Yeah, I'm talking about the TBS Triumph because I usually have just the dipole linear. This is 12 grams on its own. Okay, so let's take that 12 grams off. So my all up weight without a GoPro, but with my GoPro case on and my motors on is 606. So it's going to be 676 all up with a GoPro because a GoPro is about 71 grams.
Is that a session? Is 71 grams?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With a case, it's 90. With a case, is around 96 grams.
The session, the GoPro session, the go-to camera for FPV has been discontinued.
Which they're discontinuing. Yes.
I can't get another one. I'm like I said, I'm taking off for China. I'm down to one camera. Which, sorry, I don't mean to sound like a snob, but when I'm going to shoot professionally, I want to have more than one GoPro because I'm going to smash one. But I'm down to one. I wanted the second one. The nearest one is at a store over 2 hours away. I called Chad. I'm like, Chad, do you have one?
Just go to China. They have them in China.
Yeah. Hit up RunCam. I mean, Josh was already debunked it. I think it's a better image, to be totally honest.
What did I debunk?
The RunCam 3.
Don't put words in my mouth. The RunCam 3 is way discontinued. You can't get that anymore.
Oh, really?
GoPro gave him a cease and desist. They wrote him a nasty letter saying you're infringing on our design patent.
Now, the other thing is, here's why I like GoPros, because I'm sponsored by Best Buy. And
by the way, what you mean the Best Buy warranty?
The Best Buy Geek Squad warranty is the greatest thing to happen to FPV.
It really is.
So there's a better way.
I'm gonna
stay GoPro. Way, and you don't have to spend money.
Does it involve Bitcoin?
Oh my God! Don't say that word. Don't say the B word.
Yeah, there's a better way, and it doesn't involve money. But I don't want to really leak it because then my whole scene is going to get blown up. But I've never paid for a Geek Squad warranty, and I've never had to. I've returned probably like 10 or 12 GoPros my whole life.
Is it stealing? It's stealing, isn't it?
No.
That
it's just working. Discount. It's just working the system, manipulating it to work for you.
See, what I like about the Geek Squad thing is you just walk in there and walk out with a new one. There's no mailing. There's no.
But surely they've discontinued the session, but surely they're going to release something else.
I'm just saying the timing. So here's what I don't know is I'll tell you right now. I'm working on a frame. I don't know when it's ever going to come out. Like we're taking our time with it because I love the frame I fly now. So there's no rush. But I am working on a frame, and I started with consideration of the session. I don't know if the session's still going to be the go-to camera because if they replace it with a same-sized camera that's of significantly worse quality, then hell, I'm going to move over to one of the larger format GoPros, like the new 6 Black or whatever it's called, right?
Black.
Now, what if ideally I would like the so that's one possibility, right? It's the same form factor as a Session, but it's a worse camera, in which case I'm done with it. Another possibility.
Why would it not be a better camera?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why are you interrupting? Another possibility is it's a better camera in the same form factor. That's amazing. No problem. Another possibility is it may be a similar performance camera with a different form factor. Maybe a smaller cube, maybe a rectangle kind of facing the other way, like their Fusion cameras. I don't know what it's going to be. So the fact that I'm designing a frame right now, I'm like, whoa, am I going to have to change the width? I'm going to change the whole mounting strategy. What do I do?
Or the other possibility is they are in trouble and they're discontinuing a camera that they can't produce anymore. And they're not even going to have a camera in that category anymore, right? Because aren't they in financial trouble right now? 2 years having huge losses.
Yeah, it's all these FPV pilots returning their GoPros under warranty.
Hey.
I said to the guy at Best Buy, he refunded me the camera, and he refunded me the warranty.
Oh, you weren't supposed to do that.
Well, I said that's a little unusual. Is that right? And he said, "Oh, GoPro takes care of it."
Nice.
It just goes back to GoPro.
They have one of the best warranties out there in the market. I can vouch for it because that's the only way I'm getting my warranties for free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My issue was with the sensor. I think I had an issue with the sensor, so I think it was actually a GoPro warranty issue, not a Best Buy issue. I think
if it is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 things. My frame. Okay, so let's get back to this whole 6S thing. It's 670 right now with the 1600 with a heavy battery. When I was running the Tattoo 1300s, it was around 600, 605. Because the 1300 is way lighter and it's also not as good of a pack as the Matty Flip Mangoes. From
Rebel.
Yeah. Now,
link in the description.
If I take off that GoPro though, and I can use that Split 2 and it has the same power now with that battery and not have that extra weight, oh my God. 600 grams, 6S, 6-inch with Matty Flip Mangoes. My God.
The Split 2 is not bad. It's not terrible. There are some people who've had issues like sometimes it flakes out and the image freezes up while you're flying. Not very often. It does happen though.
It can happen, yeah.
So
it can happen with a Session too, though. Like it happens.
Well,
it happened to my buddy.
I'm not flying FPV through a Session though.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
Like your goggle freezes up, and that's
my
just it.
God.
I've heard horror stories with the Split.
So okay, so long range is out of the question, but I wouldn't film long range with that because I don't need the performance. I would film like horrifyingly fast lines in a small field where I can ditch if I need to ditch, I just ditch.
Yeah. The Split 2
we should explain that the RunCam's Split is a product that is a small, lightweight HD camera that also outputs an analog video signal that can be hooked up to your standard video transmitter. The idea being that rather than have 2 cameras as we have now, one being an analog camera that's dedicated to providing our FPV feed, and a second one being a big bulky GoPro, you have one smaller camera.
Use what you got.
That does HD and your FPV feed.
And use what's already there. And that makes sense
HD
to me.
On the quad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me. I wish that someone would just take this project by the reins and just do it for us. Please, God damn it. Just do it right now.
Well, RunCam has almost done it. I think the Split is brilliant, and I'm glad they made the V1 was really flawed. It was promised but flawed. The V2 is almost solid. I think for the right application for a 3-inch or a 2-inch quad where you can cram it in there, it's fantastic. You know, all those quads, Matty, under 250 grams.
Yeah. I have a lot of them.
The Split is perfect for those.
I have a lot of those.
I still don't think it's ready to take the place of dedicated FPV cameras for like your primary quad or your whole fleet, though, because there's some technical issues that it can run into because it's a little more complicated. Like in the V1, like if the SD card got full while you were flying in the middle of your screen, it would pop up a big box that covered the whole screen saying SD card full.
Why would
like,
they do that?
Someone didn't think this through.
Nice.
Like that's not how an FPV camera should ever work. So I think it's not quite ready to take over yet. But for a craft where you're willing to take that risk in order to get the kind of some gains, it's definitely a good choice. It's definitely worth considering.
Yeah, I think that it's not going to replace my session, but it's definitely going to replace a really tight area where I'm trying to have big lines because I'm blowing out corners. Like I never used to be able to blow out corners, but it's just because I'm getting so much speed and momentum beforehand now, and I need it just a little bit lighter, I think. So I'm excited. The next build will be built with the Brain FPV board, which I haven't used, but we're going to see how that works. And then like my third rig is always my experimental rig. And then it's going to be the Split 2. And then I'm going to see if I can do post-production work and see if I can splice a GoPro and a Split and see if I can actually make it work, right?
The image quality from the Split is decent. I think the place you're going to struggle is with the color grading, which I know you care a lot about. The color profile from the Split is way, way different than a GoPro, especially if you're using ProTune. So I think matching them is going to be tricky. It's a lot more saturated.
We'll see.
Which is not what you want for a color grader.
Yeah, I know. We'll see. I mean, I spent a lot of time on color grading, and it you can spend a lot of time there, but it's we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see if I can fly a lighter rig with a lot of power and spend maybe an extra hour color grading. I will take that extra hour for myself.
If you were to take the GoPro footage and make it look like the Split, you'd probably have an easier time than trying to go the other way.
Sure, yeah. And you know what? I stopped filming in ProTunes.
Really?
You stopped using ProTune?
No, okay. I stopped filming in flat ProTunes.
Yes, flat screw flat. I did flat. So that when you shoot in flat, it's like there is new color and you need to use some very complicated LUTs to bring it back. But the problem is we're changing what the camera is pointed at so much.
I've noticed that. Even if I'm interrupting you again, but even if I just try and do exposure, not even like color grading like with a LUT, even if I just try and set the shadow and the highlight level, right? Mm-hmm. But if I would have to keep tweaking it throughout the whole flight, because if I set it in one scene, it's blown out in another scene, like if I'm looking at the sky or if I'm under trees.
That's really difficult.
The GoPro's auto exposure does a much better job in a lot of cases than trying to do it by hand.
Should I turn off the auto exposure so that I can keep it from doing that? Because the transitions are awkward sometimes. But when I tried it, I'm like, well, then I just can't see anything when I'm in the dark area or something. So, And the same thing with the flat color profile. The time it would take to color grade it kind of, well, I'll say properly, would be obscene for FPV footage. Now, what I will say is I have done some footage where I shot it in flat, and rather than trying to color grade properly, I made the whole, like, I have two videos, Flatitude and Flatitude 2, and both those were shot with a flat color profile. And like the Flatitude 2 one, specifically was this snow video, so like everything is white except for the green trees and the sunset, which I made like super pink. So it's like this kind of abstract colorscape, and it works really, really well. But if you go try to shoot something normal like a park in afternoon sun, good luck. Your footage is going to look horrible unless you go for
unless you're very good at color grading.
Right.
I've noticed this trend of pink sky, blue ground lately. Like blue, like your hair almost, but lighter.
Oh yeah.
What's going on with that?
It's different. It's different in every podcast. I'm like, we got a new podcast, got to get a new color.
Yeah. So like that.
That's how you know he's serious about being a YouTuber.
That drought video has that type of color grading that I've been noticing a lot of FPV pilots are doing lately. Is that a trend right now? Do you think?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a trend. I think we're just constantly seeing people push the bar and experiment with new things because, like, everyone's flying great now. A lot of people are good at flying. I mean, there's always ways to improve. I don't want to take away from anyone that's a talented pilot, but now there's a lot more room to improve in like application things, right? What do you do with color? What do you do with music?
What do you do with hair?
What do you do with the hair? How do you get that attention? Please click me. Please click me right now. Please.
Hey, let's talk about something else too. Jordan Temkin was up here like 2 weeks ago, and I don't know if anyone's out there doesn't know who Jordan Temkin is. Look him up on YouTube. His pilot tag is Jet, So Jet FPVs from Colorado, but he just moved like an hour away from me down in Seattle. So he was up here, and what he had was the new Fat Shark HD goggles that are coming out, and they're prototypes, but I guess they're coming out pretty soon. Mm-hmm. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of them.
Is that the HDO?
I don't know.
No, they're white and black.
I don't know if we can talk about it. I know things. I don't know if I can say.
Oh, really?
The potential existence of the HDO is, other people have asked me if I know anything about the HDO. So people who aren't in the know that the HDO might be a thing that exists. I don't know if you can confirm that it exists or say anything about it.
Can I confirm that I used them and they're just fucking amazing?
You're not under NDA, right? Drew, you have to shut up. Mute yourself, Drew. You're under NDA. Apparently.
You know what? These I don't think so. These goggles were like literally in a group of FPV pilots. I'm sure people know what's going on. Either way, I don't know what they're called. There's a goggle coming out from Fat Shark. They're the perfect size inside. They're not like the 16:9. They're 4:3.
Not too big. And it's not too small. It's
not
right.
too big. It is just right, and it is crystal clear. Like the screen that they're using is amazing, and I'm totally upgrading.
It's the HDO.
I don't have.
Stands for OLED.
I don't have a Fat Shark sponsorship, but I'm going to be dropping some money on these goggles. I'm telling you that right now. Game changer. That paired with a Rotor Riot camera, game changer.
Nice.
Now you've got the Rotor Riot RunCam Swift 2, which I maintain is, and I'm not just saying that because I'm working with Rotor Riot now. I've always said it's the best CCD camera on the market right now. Have you tried any CMOS cameras like the Eagle or the Predator?
No, I have one that I have to try, but I just can't get away because I was flying a 2.8 lens before, right? Mm-hmm. And since 2. I've left,
wow,
2.8, yeah,
wow.
So that
I used to fly. I used to fly up
the field of view of the lens, right? So 2.8. What would you say that is, Bardwell? 120.
Oh man, I don't even know.
Guys, I used to fly a Pico, and the Pico was literally like this, like a 50 degree camera. I could cut grass, and I could see far ahead. But that's basically all it was meant for. Now I was flying a 2.8, but now I'm flying with that GoPro lens, and it's just amazing. It doesn't distort the ground enough. I can still trim grass and fly low and feel comfortable. And then it's so tunable. Like, it's so easy to tune. You put in your little thing, you tune it, and away you go. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's cool, that brain FPV board that you had, there's a pad that's labeled CC camera control. You hook the wire up to where that remote goes, and now you can change your camera settings using your transmitter stick in your on-screen display.
My God.
It's amazing.
See,
Matty,
you know what?
It's such a great time to be alive.
You know what? It's almost a godsend that I changed up sponsorships because it really introduced me to new product and new gear. And if I would have still been flying the same TBS F3 flight controller, and I would have never agreed to... Because I'm a pretty loyal sponsored pilot. If I already have someone offer me gear, I usually just keep it and fly it, right? If that never happened, I would have never stumbled upon trying to do an F4 and getting butterfly.
I'm very excited for you to get on a F4 board.
Yeah,
and start having a little more processor power to play with.
A different FPV camera and maybe working with immersion and getting a tramp and their rapid fire. So it's awesome. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I think that is kind of a complaint I have about certain pilots in general, is that I don't want to say I don't know how to phrase it politically, but I just see that some Drew?
People name names.
For whatever reason, whether it's sponsorship, loyalty, or just stubbornness, certain pilots, they get in their way. They don't want to do anything other than what they know works, and you end up flying the same frame flight controller and ESAs, and I agree that if it works for you, don't fix it if it ain't broken. And I can say, like, personally, I've been on a string of travel lately, and I haven't had time to try a lot of things. And I'm not going to mix things up dramatically while I need to ensure that I have working gear, that I know how it works, I know I can depend on it, I know what the tune is, I don't have to fuck with it. But But
what?
when the time
fiddle what with it?
Fiddle fuck with it. But
I've never heard you swear. God damn it!
What?
I think that's the first time
I don't know.
I've heard you swear.
Anyways,
go ahead.
Point is, when you've got the time, putting some energy towards seeing what is out there, trying new things, even if it's a competitor's product, to like see what's going on with what. I mean, it's just, like at my last job as an automotive engineer, we would routinely buy competitors' cars and cut them in half and be like, how do we do that? Let's clone it. We didn't say clone. Just say let's, but yeah, I mean, see what else is out there,
You raise, I don't know how much more time we've got on the podcast, but you raise a really interesting point that, not to touch on a hot topic, but cloning. You just talked about like, what's the standard? Because I've always said everybody clones, they don't call it cloning. They all study what each other is doing and emulate and improve on it. You come from the automotive industry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what would you do? Would you worked for GM? Would you take apart a Toyota and be like, that's a good idea. Let's do that.
Oh yeah. Constantly. We buy the cars, we take them apart. We have giant saws that cut I shouldn't say we anymore. I'm not part of the company. They have giant saws that cut them. I mean, this is routine procedure to just take a look at what the competition is doing and copy it. And that's how innovation works in a lot of industries.
Could we borrow that giant saw and cut in half the Crossfire, please?
I don't even think we need a big saw for that. But I mean, it's. I've heard the argument that our industry is so small, you can't compare it to the automotive industry, and I'm like, dude, it's gonna grow, and you just hold the industry back by not saying that like that's not a legitimate form of innovation. I mean, take what's out there, find improvements. I mean,
this is my thought on this whole subject, or this whole subject.
Everything I'm saying is going to be like so unpopular with people in the industry.
You know what? It's a capitalist country. It's a capitalist world that we live in, at least. Yeah. And this is the thing. Some people in the industry think out of respect we shouldn't be trying to. Sorry?
Bingo. No, I'm sorry. Keep going, but I'm just like, ooh yeah, agreeing with you.
So there's certain people in the industry that think out of respect we shouldn't just just do these things and we should leave their product alone. No, that's not how it works.
Good luck convincing
that's not how,
the world to abide by your like moral code.
Listen, the first time a car manufacturer put on your sides now, in side mirrors, it has the alerts that people are there to see if there's blind spots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're making the car safer for everyone, and everyone's getting the benefit of having to have this. You don't have to just go buy the Volvo. I think Volvo was like one of the first ones. You don't have to just buy a Volvo to have that option, right? And I think that it's just I just don't get why some people get mad
because people are proud of their work and they don't want it being ripped off, and they hate seeing that they did all the work and then another company gets to benefit. But from what I see from like a customer point of view is, okay, a new feature for, I'm just going to make up a hypothetical. A new feature for an ESC is developed. Okay, and it's only on this one ESC, and then a month later now it's available on every ESC. Well, it does suck that you did all this work to create it, and now everyone else is ripping it off, but now the customers can get it and they can all enjoy it, and it's better across the board, and the next big thing can start to come to light.
Here's my philosophy. Here's my philosophy. If it's so easy to copy that you could just look at it and go, well, I could do that.
Is it? I totally agree. And I would take it a step further. When people get pissed off about things that are copied because they're available in the open source code, I'm just saying it's not much of a copy when you're looking in the open source code.
Here's my favorite example. I have two examples that I'll call out as on either extreme. One example is like the white. You guys know White Noise FPV. He makes these things called RaceWire, which is basically a PCB circuit board with 3 parallel traces in it that you use if you got a 4-in-1 ESC, so you got no ESCs on the arm, and you want to protect your wires from getting prop struck.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll put this race wire on your arm where the ESC would have been. You solder the motors to it, you solder the 4-in-1 to it, and then you don't have to worry about prop strikes, and it's easy to change your motors. That is a brilliant idea that he thought of. Kudos to White Noise for that. At the same time, anyone with an Osh Park subscription could go make 1,000 of those. There's zero, I don't know what the way to put it.
There's no protectability of it. I mean, it's...
There you go. You
cannot...
If somebody did that, there are people out there who would go, hey, you need to respect White Noise. He was the first to do it. I'm like, kudos to him for being the first to do it. But it's not like, and here's the other extreme. And I'm going to take something like Crossfire.
Exactly. That's a perfect analogy, because why isn't there a competitor? Because it's not trivial.
Crossfire is amazing. And even if you compare Crossfire to like the FreeSky system, FreeSky is a long-range 900 megahertz system similar to Crossfire, but Crossfire is this whole ecosystem that works together in an integrated way. And I picked Crossfire specifically so that nobody thinks I'm like bashing TBS or I hate TBS. I think Crossfire is amazing and TBS deserves a lot of credit for making it. No one is going to wake up one morning and just reinvent Crossfire from the blue because it's this complex thing.
Exactly. I mean, that's a true innovation that you don't think people are trying to copy it? Absolutely. Oh my God, people are trying to copy it, and they are failing because it's difficult.
Here's my premise.
Innovation.
Here's my premise. Most ideas that are worthy of protection are self-protecting by the nature of their complexity and difficulty. There are exceptions. There are some ideas that are incredibly innovative and valuable and also would be easy to copy, but they're the exception. Most of the time, the execution and the implementation, if it's so easy to copy, then it probably doesn't deserve protection anyway.
I'm gonna be a total dick right now. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna take our total lighthearted podcast. I'm just gonna throw a big wrench in it. I'm just gonna say this: there are way too many people in this hobby trying to get rich off the pet rock.
Wow.
What does that mean? What do you mean?
Meaning they're taking a really simple idea and they're taking, they got this simple idea that they're really proud of and they should be proud of it. And they want to get rich off this simple idea. And someone else wants to come out with the pet stone. And they're like, how dare you respect my pet rock? I'm like, dude.
Pet rock was my idea.
Pet rock was my, pet stone is going to come. So is pet pebble. So are all the other things. So like, dude, I don't want this industry to stay a thing that's only going to thrive based on this like respect for some sort of ambiguous moral code over, he thought of it first, so I'm never going to touch it. I want this industry to progress because of things like real innovations, like Crossfire.
Like
so difficult to replicate.
Like hopefully Rapid Fire.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's when is Rapid Fire coming out, by the way, guys?
No one knows. No one knows. I'm a good example. I'm susceptible to this too. Like I have a parallel charge board. One day I woke up and I said, wouldn't it be nice if there was a parallel charge board with only 4S balance plugs? And I decided that would be a good thing rather than like a bad thing. It would be so easy for anybody with a copy of Eagle to copy my board and make them. No one has. I don't know why. And if they do, I'm not going to be like, hey, I invented that. I didn't invent. I mean, I did come up with that idea on my own, but it's not like it's this incredibly innovative idea that I like own.
Right.
But just if someone copies it, I'll be like, well, fair game. I hope people still keep buying it because they want to support me. And I bet they will.
This is a great conversation, guys.
Yeah.
It's a great conversation.
When the conversation gets boring, just talk about the clones and you're guaranteed to stir up shit and piss people off.
You know what?
It's supposed to be a light one, guys. We weren't supposed to talk about anything that was going to piss anyone off.
We should talk about... Go ahead, Matty.
I'm going to talk about a conversation I had with my friend Aaron. And I know I'm bringing my friend Aaron up a lot, and it's because he's my best friend, so fuck off.
Yeah, so this Aaron guy, he's talking about Aaron
A-bomb.
a lot,
it's A-bomb FPV. I don't think he's changed it to FPV yet, but it's A-bomb, EH bomb. His name's Aaron. He's just getting into it. He's killing it. He can Matty flip. He can invert gaps. He can fly backwards. He can do it all.
That's not Aaron Ciotti, is it?
No.
Aaron Murphy.
Aaron Murphy.
Okay,
no. This is a Canadian, eh?
This is Canadian. He lives down the street from me. We were having this talk, and he did something. What did he do? He tried to dive through this gap in trees, and he picked the wrong line. So when he dove through the second hole, because through our trees in Vancouver, you can get lost pretty easy, and there's a lot of different holes up there, right? So he got lost in this one hole, and it was a totally different line. So when he came out of it, basically he hit these rocks and he broke his shit and all that stuff, right? So he walks up this huge mountain to go get his quad. He walks back. I've already flown like 5 batteries, and I'm just chilling out. And I'm like, he starts packing up. I'm like, what's going on, dude? And he's like, I don't think I'm going to fly anymore. I don't want to do the gap. Let's just go to the next spot. I want to save my quad for the next spot, which was this like amusement park. And I'm like, no. You got to go back up there and you got to hit this gap, right? You got to know for yourself that next time you come back here, this gap, you can do it. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Let's try to do it. And he goes back and he does it. And after he does it, his legs start shaking a little bit. And everyone's been there. There's an adrenaline dump. And that's what that adrenaline dump is what gives you that shakiness, right? And we both come from like a really aggressive, adrenaline-packed sport background where if we crash, there's dire consequences to ourselves and
you're gonna die.
Self-preservation, right? And we were talking, we're like, why do we shake? Like, why do we get this same boost and the same adrenaline that we're getting when we fly these stupid toys?
I'm so curious. Why?
And we started to think about it. I'm like, okay, well, let's think about what we're doing. We're sending, instead of ourself up, we're sending a quad up, and that quad costs money. Okay, so this is a dollar figure. I don't know about you guys, but I've done some gambling, and with this whole Bitcoin thing, it's almost like gambling. I never shake when I lose money. So if this thing is what I'm worried about breaking, it's not that. What we started to think about.
That is really interesting.
Now, what we started to think about is our own self-preservation. And I think what's happening is we're tricking our brain. We're being transcended into this little machine, into the world. We're putting on goggles. We're our whole environment of what we see is changing into this thing that's flying around and ripping around. And it's almost like it's tricked our brain into thinking we are what we're flying.
Yeah.
And it mind-blowing stuff. It was a great conversation. I wish we could have had it on the podcast, but what do you guys think about that?
I think so. I think there is that hint of there is that risk because it's, financial. There's the financial risk. There's the risk of the time that you spent building it. There's the SD card you don't want to lose. There's the GoPro that now you're not going to have. So there is that financial risk, but that's not just it. It's tied into the brain. So if you go play a simulator, it doesn't matter how realistic it is. You just don't get that adrenaline rush. So you have the brain trick in conjunction with a hint of risk. And I think it adds up to like a perfect storm of like it's you really feel like you're putting something on the line, but like really it's like who cares? I can fix it. Just a matter of time before I can afford it, whatever.
Aaron knows he can fix it, and Aaron also has a really good job. He can afford it. It's not like he can't fly because he crashes his quad. You know what I mean? But still, he gets that crazy adrenaline dump. Sorry, you were going to say something, Joshua.
For me, it's the time. I don't have a lot of time. I'm so busy. It's the time I would have to spend to get it working again, especially if it's one of my favorite quads that's flying real good. Then I wreck it, and maybe next time it won't be flying real good. Ultimately, it's the ability to fly it and to get the footage you want and have the experience you want out of it. And when you wreck it, you could have just tossed that all away, especially if you lose the quad and then you lose the footage.
I think that's where this long range is, because I've kind of started to focus on getting my long range game going. And I just tested my rig. I was able to go 5-6 kilometers out, and I still had great video. I still had great RSSI. But I think that there's this new adrenaline thing for me is sending it way out there and trying to get it back home safely.
Long range, yeah. I've been enjoying it since I got my TBS Crossfire. Flying to the top of. One thinks that we have this whatever, but I do love this system and flying. Literally, I'm on the ground. I go whee, and in about 45 seconds, I'm on the top of a mountain. Are you freaking kidding me? It would take me like 6 hours to hike up that thing, and now we surf down it and then go right back up again. Yeah. It's amazing.
The places where we're gonna go, like where we're exploring, is like we're taking a shotgun into the woods so we don't get eaten by something. And then like if we can find it, are we really willing to hike up to like 10,000 feet? I can't. I physically can't do it. So
let me flip it though. I find that the best I ever fly is when I am not scared of losing the quad and I just go, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like the best.
That's how I've always flown.
If you can get over that fear, you'll find, like, there have been time when I was testing a quad for indestructible quads. He sent it to me and I said, look, I think this frame's going to break. I'm going to fly it. I'm not going to intentionally just smash it into a wall, but I'm going to fly the crap out of it. And I'm definitely going to crash it. And if it breaks, then, and so I had these absolutely guilt-free battery packs where I could fly as aggressively as I wanted because, I needed to crash it. And I was like, holy crap, I can't believe I hit that gap. How am I going so fast? I'm a much better pilot than I usually am.
Because you don't give a fuck.
And then I crashed it and broke it. And I was glad it wasn't my quad. But yeah, if you can get over that fear,
That's how I've always flown. But I'm trying to find that, like, I think the long range thing for me, it's like if I lose a whole setup, I'm worried more about the time. I'm getting most of my gear for free. I could give a fuck about the GoPro.
Well, that's why. Sorry, go ahead.
But no, it's more that it's going to take me like a good 5 hours to rebuild that quad, and I just don't like doing it anymore. I've done too much of it.
I think that's why we pro pilots. That's a thing that pro pilots and sponsored pilots bring to the table. We got to remember, the vast majority of people can't just smash a quad and go get another one for free. And that when people watch pro pilots get awesome footage. And part of the reason we can get awesome footage is that if we do smash a quad, we're not buying the next one out of pocket. And
it's this cycle you have to get into, right? Where you have to push yourself and be willing to risk it yourself first. And then companies will start supporting you. So, I mean, like, right. When I was I had no sponsors starting out, right? And then after, what kicked off my first sponsorship was I lost a quad in the ocean. And like Mini Quad Club was like...
got you noticed.
Yeah, well, because because my frame is warranted, right? So my frame is warranted and I'd broken one or two... I'd broken like 2 arms or something, right? And it's always been replaced, no questions asked, right? So I'd been messaging the guy, Nick Miller, who at the time was the only owner of Mini Quad Club. Now he's got a partner. Point is, he knew me, and then one day I messaged him. I was like, so, lost that quad in the ocean. I know that's not covered under warranty, so I'm gonna order another one. Just thought you'd find this story funny. He's like, new one's on the way, bro. I don't want you to stop pushing yourself. And I was like, dude, that's not... And I ended up just buying a second one same day anyway, just support it. But that really kind of kicked off our friendship. And then he was like, dude, I just want you to keep pushing. I don't want you to worry about the carbon. So like, here, has another frame. Like, let's just make this official. You're a team pilot. Boom, skis. Like, let's do it, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that did help a lot because then I did not care about my frame. Like, they were tough to begin with, and I like smash it in half. I'm like, well, I mean, the time is still annoying. But so I was already before pushing myself. Then you get that, and I can push a little bit harder, and then you keep. I don't want to sound
like we're being cavalier, saying to the kid who has who scrimped and saved and has one quad, hey, just cut loose, buddy. I understand that that's not an option for some people. Yeah. They can't afford to just crash and ball it up and just start over. But if you can find the right balance, Matty, you said balance, because like I'm probably way more timid a pilot than I really should be in terms of how much it actually costs me when I crash. Mm-hmm. I still fly as if every crash was the end of the world. I don't know why.
We'll get you over that.
I fly better. So there's a balance, I guess.
What do you guys think about simulators? Are you guys ever playing simulators?
It's so boring.
You know what? I've been flying DRL simulator. I've been working on a series. By working on a series, I mean in a year I'll have finished it, a month or something, where I'm reviewing all the major simulators. The DRL simulator is hella fun. I don't know how like accurate it is. I think it flies pretty good, but they got all these leaderboards with ghost laps. Yeah. So what you can do is you can say, put me up against the 5 pilots closest to my time on the leaderboard. So every race, there's 5 pilots who are just a little better than you, and you're racing their ghost. So you can kind of inch your way up the leaderboard.
That's awesome.
It's super fun.
A great way for them to, and DRL's never shy of great ideas, but that's a great way to have the racing scene of a simulator, and that would probably make it less boring for people. I know, Drew, that's interesting that you said it's less boring. Now, what do you find boring about it?
About simulators? I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me.
Do you just find that they don't feel real, or that it just doesn't feel like it's the same
real.
thing?
I just don't care. It's just, it's just not real. I don't know. It's this whole. It goes back to that more philosophical question we have about why do we get an adrenaline rush? Like, why don't I give a damn about the simulator? Like, when I used to fly, I started flying RC line of sight stuff and mess around with planes and helicopters, and people were trying to get me into FPV, and I'm like, nah, man. Like, if I'm gonna do FPV, I might as well just be playing a video game. And then I actually tried FPV, and I'm like, that's no video game. I'm in. I'm hooked. It's not like a video game. I don't know why it's so much more special to do in real life, but it is.
See, this is the thing with me, and going back to my good buddy Aaron again, it's just because I've like ingrained this into his head. Play the sim. Every single time this guy plays the sim for the week, he plays like an hour a day. He comes back out, and the next week, he's literally just throwing down crazy lines. He has these tricks that he's been developing this muscle memory, this mind muscle memory in his thumbs.
There's no doubt it's a good tool. Right? There's no doubt it's a fantastic tool.
Yeah, and see, this is the thing. No one likes going to the gym. I mean, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you were, maybe, I don't know.
Gym rats are chiming in the comments right now.
Yeah,
I like going to the gym.
Different story with a gym rat, but for myself at least, okay? I hate going to the fucking gym. I hate exercise, and I hate that maintenance of part of my life because it takes time, and it just sucks. I don't like it. It hurts. You know what I mean? You get this muscle burn and all that other stuff. But I have to do it because I know I have to do it. And it is boring as hell. All you're doing is literally lifting weights to keep yourself from like healthy and looking good. But I know it has to get done because I know that once I take my shirt off and I feel good about myself and I'm healthier and I don't look fat in the mirror or whatever, it feels good. So it's like almost like the simulator is the boring side of it, but I know if I play it enough, once I go out and do the actual flying, it's going to really pay off because I'm going to be like, wow, like I can do these tricks and I don't even have to think about it. My brain just does it, you know? And that's how I see the simulator, at least.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's an amazing tool. It can teach you the
muscle memory. But at the same time, it seems like you fly a lot and you probably just get that stick time anyways.
Yeah, I think that here's what I say. The first for everybody, it's going to be a little different, but the first, let's say 200 to 300 crashes, or the first, say 4 to 10 hours, depending on how quick. I've seen people pick it up super quick, mostly kids. Other people take a little longer. I think there's no question that every FPV pilot should spend that time in the simulator. They will all benefit from it, and you'll save a lot of money and time and be a better pilot. After that point, I think there comes a point where the simulator isn't close. I had one guy say, I practiced this trick for hours in the simulator. I got it down. And then the first time I went and flew, it was totally different. And there's a point where you just need to be flying your actual quad, or like you did, Matty, tweak the hell out of the simulator to get it to fly right.
Okay, I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something about the guy who thinks it's different. It's his brain tricking him. Because I believe that the simulator is about 95% accurate, where you can see points, like entry points, exit points. You get that initial brain chemistry. When I used to do motorcycle stunts, it was really easy for me to sit while I was going, like laying down to go to sleep at night and think the trick through. Every single little micro, I'd break the trick down, and you can see it in your head and you're like, yeah, that's easy. I can do it. I felt it. I went around one circle. There's this thing called a high chair circle, and you put your feet over the handlebars and you're controlling the bike with a brake with your ring finger or your middle finger, and then clutch with your index finger, and then your gas. So your gas brings you back, your brake brings you forward, and then if you ever came up to a point where you stalled and had to drop it back in, you pull in both the clutch and the brake at the same time. It would bring the bike up, drop it forward, and then you can keep on going. And this trick is really scary because you're literally upside down almost, and you're trying to slow circle wheelie, a 450 pound like machine that's like made for going around a racetrack, right? And when you're at home and you're in that safety net of your brain, it's really easy to think about those things. But when you are in the moment, you kind of have that little bit of a breakdown panic mode of, I might lose my quad, I might break. Why doesn't it feel right? And I think it's just a trick. I think that people just, if they had a little bit more coaching and they could just calm down and just fight through it, fight through the feeling that it doesn't feel real and just make it work, because it, you know,
you got to get the rates. You got to at least get the rates same though. The rate, the up tilt.
That's the
may
biggest
just be
thing.
that you're not set up. The physics, I think, it's probably a little latitude there. People like to nitpick the physics, but I think if you get the rates and the up tilt basically the same, maybe the thrust just adjusted to get the punch about right. The basic physics, aerodynamics, I think, are less important.
Yeah, I try. I think a really important thing for me is getting the bubble in my screen almost the same, and I play on the worst graphics. I play on the worst graphics too, because when I go into my goggles, I try to simulate exactly what I'm doing in my goggles. I make it a small ass screen. I try to make it so I'm sitting in an area where it's almost the same as my goggles. I make it square, and I make it shitty graphics, and then it's like
play in your goggles.
Yeah, with the HDMI cord.
Yes, that's another good thing too, because I have another friend that's living up in Nelson or somewhere in the interior, and he's like, whenever I put my goggles on, it just feels like everything is getting tighter, and I'm like, how are you playing your sim? Like, I'm wondering if he's playing a sim with like a huge big screen TV with like an open, living room or something, right?
Yeah.
How you guys feeling, guys? Should we wrap this up now?
Yeah, I think we wrap it up.
Do you guys want to plug the Riot event? We know the big announcement went out. Do you want to like mention that?
We don't have too many details. We don't have any details yet.
Okay.
But we are doing an event. I guess that's all I can say is we are doing an event. It's going to be probably late September, early October. I have a location I think it's going to be at, but we're going to be scoping it out soon.
It's going to be a freestyle event.
Freestyle centric event. Well, freestyle and FPV culture event. So, I mean, this is going to be like the Burning Man of FPV. So, I want art galleries and music stages and food trucks.
That sounds amazing.
I don't know if people know that. People don't know this. I posted, you talked about, Matty, my jiu-jitsu pictures. I posted some other pictures. Jesse Perkins is going to Burning Man this year. He said, who else is going to Burning Man? And I said, actually, you guys probably don't know this about me. I went to Burning Man in 06, 07, and 09. And I actually, you also don't know that I was one of the founders of the Georgia Regional Burn and was on the board for 5 or 6 years until I moved on. I have a long history with burning events. So I'm hoping to bring some of that to this Rotor Riot freestyle event.
Bring it.
I want there to be fire. I want there to be explosions. I want there to be a bar. I'm hoping to make this an awesome event. In ways no one's ever seen before.
It is going to be an awesome event.
It's not going to be Flight Fest. No offense to Flight Fest.
Oh, no. Hey, Flight Fest is an amazing thing.
What were you going to say there, Drew?
What? When?
Were you going to chime in there?
I was saying bring the fire. Bring the fire.
Hey, let me ask you something.
It'll still be family friendly and kid appropriate.
Joshua, have you ever tried DMT, Joshua?
I have not. I've not. Now we're on the Joe Rogan podcast. No, I've never tried DMT.
I always wondered if you did. Maybe after seeing the Burning Man pictures and the jiu-jitsu pictures, I was like, hey, this guy's onto something. I could see me just hanging out. I already knew I could hang out with you because we've talked before, but it's just like there's more interest there with this guy. He's such a layer of
I'm like
onions.
An onion.
Exactly, like layer of the onions.
No, I never.
Is there going to be DMT? No, never mind.
Is there going to be DMT? No.
There's not going to be any.
No illicit.
There's no
class one drugs at the event.
No, this is definitely a event. We're talking it up like it's going to be this rager party, and it is, but it's going to be a family-friendly event.
No, we're fine. We could. I guarantee that we can strike the balance. I know that we can. When I started thinking about this, I was like, maybe we don't have to do it just like every other event, because everybody thinks about Joe Knoll and they think about Flight Fest, and there's a certain mold that those guys are cast in. And I'm like, if Rotor Riot is going to put on an event, Rotor Riot, maybe we should just like go back to the drawing board. And that doesn't mean turn it into a rave. But it means, hey, maybe we could have a bar. Maybe we could have some fire. Maybe we could have, I don't know. All adults. We could rethink it a little bit.
Most of us that do this hobby are adults. And yes, we should have those things as long as everyone's behaving themselves.
But I don't think we're going to be having DMT.
No drugs. The next thing is I really want to be on the board for making the rules for this freestyle competition. Please, just let me have that.
Okay.
Do we know how you guys are doing that? Or
you tell us. It's not your problem. Delegate it. I don't want to do it. You can do it.
What about you, Joshua? How do you feel about this?
Is it a competition?
I'd like to
be a competition.
I'd like to.
We're going to be doing
Joshua,
a bunch of. We're going to be doing lots of sub events within the whole weekend. Yeah. There's going to be lots of events. There's going to be multiple competitions. So even though it's freestyle centric, I'm sure there'll be some race.
I want there to be a quad camp style, at least workshops.
Yeah, there's going to be workshops. There's going to be multiple workshops.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
All sorts of things. So I'm coming. I mean, I think we're gonna have multiple competition formats. We could
Matty's gonna run a competition apparently.
Yeah. Well, you just got an assignment.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Well, let's wrap it up. Thanks, Joshua, for coming and joining in and filling in for Chad this week. Drew, have so much fun in China. I hope it's everything that you're expecting. And have you ever been to China?
No.
Oh my God, that's gonna be amazing for you. Please, safe travels, Joshua and Drew. We'll see you soon, and thanks for tuning in, guys. The support is always appreciated, and just leave a comment if you have any interesting topics you'd like to hear, or if you want to sponsor us. We can also talk about that as well. I think we kind of dropped the ball on the sponsoring thing lately, but.
It was your
yeah. Well, I mean, we're focusing more on the podcast, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, we are, and we put a lot of effort into finding good topics, staying on topics, no matter how controversial they are. That being said, just having this one just be kind of more free form, just hang out. Hope you all enjoyed it. Hope the listeners enjoyed it, because I had a good time.
It was one of my favorite ones for sure.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Monster Energy.
Don't give it. If you're good at something, don't give away for free. We didn't get anything from Monster. I don't even like Monster. Ugh.
That thing is psychotic. Do you go into a diabetic?
Angling.
Do you go into a?
No, it's sugar free. This one's. Oh. I am personally angling for a Monster sponsorship. On every live stream, I demonstrate that I've drunk a Monster before.
Nice.
Okay, thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.